let's dive in. I really want to start with the theme song. Here's why. The theme song itself reharmonizes itself because it starts off in the traditional Donkey Kong Country vibe. Check it out. Okay, and again, as always on these streams, I'm listening along with the first time with you guys. So this is an F major, okay? Based on that being a perfect fourth interval of B and E. And then the note is F. Okay, so we're in F major. We know that much. Okay? Great. So this is how the game started. Okay? The rare symbol came up and it was like, oh, I guess this is just like an old school game. Wait till you hear the reharmonization that happens. And we'll talk today about reharmonization and how that's very different to writing songs. Okay? It's essentially an arrangement method. Oh, you hear that minor key? Oh, anyone else hear the boo, the relative minor? Relative minor much? All right, we're gonna talk about all this. Let's get started. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. So we're in F major. We start in F major. Now, what we're going to talk about here, there's a method that's being used here that's very similar to a method that I personally use on a recording. I'll play that recording for you. It's actually kind of hard to find on the internet, but I will play it for you. It's a trick where you maintain the melody and you just reharmonize the chords. Oh, new harmony. So we'll talk about that. But the song starts in F major, and then it stays in F major, aka D minor. We'll talk today about how they're the same keys. There will be a really fun color-coded thing we're going to do in about 10 seconds. All right, so we're in F major. Let's keep listening. It's a 1.5-minute piece. Pay attention to the bass notes. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool. So here we go. We're in F major to start off. Now we're in D minor. They share a key signature, which will be very important moving forward. Okay, F, G, A, B flat. So I'm going to first show you guys, and some of you may already know this, so a lot of you probably already do, how these key signatures relate. We're talking about relative keys. This whole song is about reharmonizing. Exactly, F works with D minor perfectly. Exactly, I'm your chosen one. So check it out. The notes in F major, I'm going to make that green. I'll make this purple. I think these are not synesthetically correct, but whatever. Here are the notes in D minor, okay? Okay, so these are two totally different scales, it seems. So we start on F with this one. That's weird. That's very different than D. So these must be different scales. F, G, A, B flat. Yeah, this is D, E, F. Okay, these are totally different scales. But watch this. What if I just simply do this? What if I move this F to line up with this F? Okay. See how these notes line up? Okay, when all we do is drag the notes 3 notes later, so here's what happens. These notes are the same, literally, okay? So what they do, and this obviously goes back, okay, they share the same, exact same DNA, exactly the same notes, okay? So they share keys, okay? So they share the same key signature, which means the same genetic code. So an analogy I like to use when I'm talking about relative keys versus parallel keys is this. Relative keys, and I should probably draw this out, relative keys, are we ever going to actually chart the song out? Yes, we are. So relative keys are similar to moving furniture in own house, okay? So if you take the chair from your living room and you put that in your dining room, you take the bed from your dining room and put it in your sister's room as a real hilarious joke. I don't know. Those are relative keys. The items are already in the house. The decor was designed by you, I would imagine, or someone who lives with you. So it's designed by the person dwelling there, or at least the people dwelling there. So they probably all have the same taste. It's probably mid-century modern everywhere, or it's probably retro everywhere, or it's probably shabby chic everywhere. Okay, you get the idea? That's relative keys. We have the same items. Same items. See these items, how they are the same once you just shift them over a little bit, right? Parallel keys, which is not what's happening in this song. Parallel keys This is similar to borrowing, and that term will come up potentially later, depending on how much music we get to. Borrowing furniture from neighbor's house. Okay, again, this neighbor word is also going to come up too if we get to it. Neighbor's house. So, borrowing clothing from your neighbor's house, totally doable. Do you need a U-Haul truck? Not unless it's super heavy. It's right there. You just go pick it up. But do they have the same decor? Probably not. I mean, maybe. It's possible. I mean, if you both have Spanish houses next to each other, maybe they do. But you probably bought your stuff at CB2, and they probably bought their stuff at, I don't know, IKEA. That's another company. So these are going to be different items. Very different items. So in this Donkey Kong Country song, which is going to help us learn about reharmonization, they are using the same notes. So what that means is this moment that feels happy, very 8-bit. Oh, so happy. I promise you every note you're hearing is one of these notes. Let me make that blue. One of these notes. You're not hearing any notes that aren't that. Hear this new dark tone? Oh my God, so different. Guess what? Same notes. This vibe right here is identical. There is no note you're hearing that's not one of these 7 notes. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. You're hearing only those notes. I'll prove it. D, that's D. That's the lowest note. B flat, that's a B flat. Last time I checked, I was not lying to y'all. That is G. Oh, I hear that note. This is C. Oh, snap. And then A, B flat, F, D minor. Okay, cool. I can't sing that low. I can't sing a low D. So only those notes are being heard. Before, and let's uncircle these. Before, it was only the same notes, just in a different order. Now, this could be a concept we talk about today called modes, but I don't think we really need to do modes. I think today we're mostly focusing on reharmonization, okay? Now, I'm going to play you a piece. This is somewhat self-serving. I'm going to play you a piece that I produced, and it's going to be a little bit name-droppy, but I think it's worth it. Okay, so, and I took the reins on this and reharmonized this song so that we could make it sadder. They said they wanted the song to not be as happy as the original piece that was in the show, the very happy unwritten. They want it to be sad. So what do you do when you're trying to make something sad? You do what Donkey Kong did. So what Donkey Kong does here is it goes from F major, yay, happy, okay, into seemingly like intense and groovy. Now, obviously the drums change, but the most important thing that happens is harmonically, we go to the relative minor. Relative, right? Same notes, but we focus on the D minor as the lowest note, okay? So check out how this sounds. Does this sound as happy as the original? No. Oops. So it kind of sounds happy here. By the way, this happens to be the same key, so this is working out. This is F major, okay? It's all happy, just like the original, right? But watch what happens in the chorus. So hopeful. Here, the idea behind my arrangement of this harmonically was, it's so hopeful, but the series is ending. And so we need to have it have a dark sadness because people don't want the show to end.
So close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your.
That chord change is very important. The idea of going D minor, sort of A minor over C, B flat major 7, sort of A minor over C, to D minor, A minor over C, B F diminished, B flat. It ends on the saddest chord we could have had. This doesn't sound anywhere near as sad. And by the way, this is totally going to get removed from the VOD probably. But long story short, all we did was change the harmony and slightly change the melody to compensate for that B half diminished, etc. And then the verse is really dark. So it goes super dark here. D minor, F, B flat, G minor. And it's unsettled. Nothing's resolving. There's no A natural. There's no 5-1. 5-1. It's like 4-1. It just sort of lifts and doesn't really ever feel like it's settled. And then they want it to eventually obviously be kind of hopeful because they want the people to leave the show happy. So we had this sus thing over a 5 chord, pedaling the 5. Yes. I didn't write the original song. I rearranged this and produced this recording for the Hills series finale.
Let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching
Again, moving the bass note. We're using the same notes from the original Unwritten, but we just changed the order. Reharmonized. Oh yeah, I love this version. I'm really proud of this.
in the distance, so close you can almost
Minor.
taste it. Release your
4 minor.
Feel the rain on
D
your
minor.
skin. No one else can-
Now, eventually we made it major because we wanted the song to lift and be happy.
no one else-
I took like 2 days to rearrange this in a hotel while we were on tour with Carney, and it was a very stressful experience, but it was so worth it. I love Natasha with all my heart.
The day is where your book begins. Feel the rain on your skin.
So I know that it's probably fun to just be right there, but let's go back into this concept of what's happening theoretically. So theory is not this dry thing. Okay, it sounds good, man. Have some fun with Call of Duty. Yes, Juan. Thank you so much for being here. We're happy to have you, man. I love how we're going from this like massive recording to 16-bit. So let's look at what's happening here. Here's how the original starts. So the most important thing for us in these sessions of music theory of gaming is to get the general fundamental harmony underneath. Okay, so let's listen for the bass notes. Now for some reason that's B flat over D, but it's I hear it as B flat over D. I do not hear that as D minor. Boom. Boom and B flat. B flat. I've never noticed the second chord is D minor. And now we see, and it probably goes A minor. A minor. And then right now, I'm going to do a funny little bar, which no one would ever actually use. We just go right into the new song. Same key signature. Why is it the same key? I wonder why. Why is this the same key signature? We already talked about it. We're not changing keys. I mean, we kind of technically barely are. We're going into D minor. Every note's going to be the same. But the focus, instead of being F, which is our major key, center, we're going to go to our relative key, which is D minor. So now we're in D minor. Now we're in the cool, groovy vibe, right? Okay. And we get 2 bars for free of just D minor, just to let the audience know this is different. This is not the old school thing. Pinto, what's up? 4 bars of this, now that we're really grooving. Now here's how reharmonization works. The melody before was ba 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 da da ba 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 da 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 ba ba boo doo 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 doo. That sounds like a Christmas song, but anyway, it was essentially something like that. Now it's same melody. Ba 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 da da da. So the same melody is happening. Ba 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 da 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 da. Okay, you get the idea? So, same thing we did with the Unwritten thing. Keep the same melody. In the verses, we changed it in Unwritten to make it darker. So, let's figure out the exact chords now and look how they differ. D minor, B flat, B flat, G minor, C, A minor, B flat. Same vibe, same chords, just different instrument, and a slight reharm. Oh, okay, just 4 bars in a row. Got it. Okay. Okay, cool. This is very similar. This just repeats twice. 2 times. Love it. And then we go back and we fade out. By the way, that instrument I think is that the same instrument as the dolphin guy? So look what's happening. So this melody, which I don't even need to write out, we can just sing it. Okay? It's happening over these chords. And look at how happy it feels. Bum, bum. And I'll play it again. I'm going to circle that in blue. Okay? Bum, bum. Bum, bo, da, da, da. Bo, do, 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 do. Bo, do, 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 do. Now, we don't know how it ends. I mean, we know from the old... I can pull up the old one if we want, but it ends pretty happy. Bo, do, 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 do. Something like that, right? This one, look at this. I'm going to circle this in blue. All we're doing is playing these chords in a different order. But every single note you're hearing here is one of these notes. And we already agreed these are the same notes, just starting in a different order. So what is D minor? What is B flat? But the same key, the relative key. Same notes. We're borrowing pieces of furniture from the same house in the same design. We're just reordering it. If I have a room with 5 chairs in a circle, it's like, what is this, a seance room? But what if I put those 5 chairs and add a table in the middle? It's like, oh, it's your dining room. Cool. Very different room. I moved the dining room back in. Sorry, guys. Well, this room had a weird vibe. Well, this room has a really happy vibe. Well, now the room has a weird vibe. Okay? Now check this out. We haven't even talked about actual harmony. We're just talking about melody notes up top, right? The notes we can choose from in the keys. And we've shown the general harmony. But check this out. If we were to draw side by side the diatonic chords of F major to the diatonic chords of D minor, watch what we'd get. So I'll just do triads to make this quicker. We don't need to go all crazy buck wild. All right. Oops. So we just, all this is I'm doing right now is I'm drawing thirds and I'm following the rules of the key signature. Okay. So I'm not going to write any accidentals. There's no need for me to. I don't need to do this. Oh, sharp. Oh, flat. I don't need to do that. It's already been dictated. Right here. Oops. Right here. It's been dictated. Oh, you can't even see what I'm talking about. So it's already been dictated. We already know that the key signature is this. We don't need to write sharps and flats. We don't need that garbage. It's already been dictated by that B flat. So we just say to the key signature, which is that B flat, hey, you just tell us what you want. You tell us where we need to go. You're like the head contractor. You tell us where to go. And therefore, every B becomes flatted. It's implied, right? So what does this generate? If I just draw triads, meaning I stack things in thirds, F, A, C, G, B flat, D, I stack them, what do I get? Well, I get F major, I get G minor, I get A minor. I'm just quickly cheating for you guys and telling you what happens, okay? And I get E diminished. Great. So this is the key of F major. Wow, what a fun key. We made it green before. Let's make it green again. F major. So before we gave the melody notes, right? These are our melody notes. Well, now we're drawing out our diatonic harmony. These are our diatonic chords. Got it? Okay, so now the key of D minor, which was purple, check out these diatonic chords. Again, at first glance, they're going to look different, but they are not different. Okay, so look at the key signature for D flat, D minor. So D minor, watch this. All I do is I stack in thirds, but I start on D. So I start on D, I go, all right, I guess D, F, A. I'm just stacking thirds. Notice how on the staff paper, I just keep skipping spaces or lines. So when I say third to represent that on the paper, I draw a note, I skip this, and I draw another note. Because each one of these is a note. Note, 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 note. Let me circle them so they make more sense. Note, 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 note. That's how music works, right? Each line is a note and each space is a note. So we just skip whatever we need to skip. So if we're starting on spaces, we skip the lines. If we're starting on lines, we skip the spaces. This is how we represent thirds on music paper, okay? I just draw these notes up. I just keep stacking them in thirds. They're called thirds because the interval is some sort of third, a major or minor third, okay? We skip. It's also to quickly explain that analogy. Why is it a third? Well, let's explain that. I'm speaking beneath some of you, but I'm also helping some of you out, I think. So I have 3 items here. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 items here. This is the first item. This is the third. First, skip the second. Watch this. I'll drop it. First, I'll make this the second, so it's not that bad when I drop it. We have the first item, the second item, and the third. First, third. Drop it. That's a third. First and third. We have the first and third only. We skipped the second. So we're just creating thirds here. That's all we're doing. So we're stacking thirds. Here are the diatonic chords of D minor. We just follow the key signature, just like we did before. Here they are. D minor. Oops. D minor. E diminished. F major. G minor. A minor. B flat. C major. Well, it sure does look super different than, I wish I could really hold that up, I guess. It sure does look super different, doesn't it? I mean, one's F, then the one chord is D minor and the other. No, they're the freaking same. We just start here. Same thing as we did with the notes before. If you start there, look at how they're the same. See how this keeps being the same? It looks really sloppy what I'm doing, but hopefully that's making some sense, you know? It's all the same. So why does that matter? Because these reharmonization chords, what I can do is I don't have to stop at what Donkey Kong does. I don't have to stop with just their reharmonization. Watch this. This is how, if I'm doing a song like the Natasha thing, I'm gonna create something brand new. Okay? All right, so here's what's crazy about this. Donkey Kong doesn't go far enough, in my opinion. Okay? Did you ever think you'd hear that sentence in life? Honestly, Donkey Kong doesn't even go far enough. We're going to use these chords. I wish I could get this higher. So here's what I'm going to do. This is my 4th music theory of gaming stream. I'm learning the last stave is not something I should be writing with. So we're going to cut that. We're never going to go down there again. Okay, and we're going to go up here. Paste. We're going to put that shiz up here. What's happening there is all those notes sounded good because they paired well together. We've talked a little bit about this before, but the concept is basically if I pre-package a meal for you and I say here's red meat, here's Brussels sprouts, here's green beans, they pair well together. So whatever order you eat them in, your stomach will process them nicely, your mouth will like it. But if I gave you some random ass things like it sounds like what is happening because I'm using notes that don't really pair naturally well together. It would be like if I said, yeah, I gave you this great paired meal. It's pears and then a pile of horse shit and then a piece of a Rubik's Cube and then a Sour Patch Kid. One flavor. It's like, what? That's why Jazz gives me indigestion. That's funny, get on the bar. So it can work. It can be an artistic expression moment. But if you don't know what you're doing initially, use these tricks. This is where we're going to go. Now, by the way, if and when Destiny, I rated him a couple nights ago and we've been emailing back and forth. If and when we do the Music Theory of Gaming stream together, this is going to be the focal point of our stream. Because he was talking about making melodies and how to make it easier to make a melody. So anywho, so let's improvise a little bit, okay? Let's say I were to improvise. All I need to do if I want to sound standard and make sure I don't screw something up is play one of these 7 diatonic chords with the melody notes. Something like this might happen. Let's put the face cam back up. All right, something like this might happen. Huh. Now I'm doing some tricks. I'm not doing only diatonic notes, but mostly I'm centering around these chords. B flat, C, altering it, but oh, thank you. Yeah, you're right. How do I get high enough to make sure you can see this? B flat, G minor, C, A minor, D minor. Now I'm really following the chord changes of the original. How am I adding chord melodies? So exactly, Nabioti. Yeah, I just add chord tones on top. Dick's out for Diddy. Fantastic. All I'm doing is adding chord tones. Key notes, notes from the key signature on top of diatonic chords. Now, if you're getting jazzy, sometimes melody notes are not in a key, right? Like Ah. Shit. This is Disney, Jacob. This is Someday My Prince Will Come. So what I'm doing there is I'm playing B flat major 7 with the F, D7, flat 5. I'm sorry, sharp 5. There's my B flat. Doo-doo-doo. So sometimes chord melodies involve altered notes, right? That's a G7 altered with the G on the top. It could be G7 augmented with the B on the top. It could be G7 augmented with the D sharp on the top. So there are different ways you have to, unfortunately, go through all of these progressions, literally, chord progressions, and figure out shapes that work that have the melody note. This is why I always say for guitar specifically, we gotta learn our cage scales properly. We have to learn the fretboard. So when I'm here, I know my major 7's here. So if I want to chord melody it and have a major 7, let's say the melody's... If that's my melody, I want to go... Or if I want to play it down here. Sorry, geez, I've never played the guitar up here. Right? Or up here. Jeez. So I want to have different places I can play an E natural with an F major 7 chord happening. Some version of F major 7, you know? I want to use for Scrabble. Amazing. So... Yeah, lots. Exactly. Secondary dominance. That's, we got some theory guys. Yeah, I like that. Hell yeah. All right. So, that is what's happening in Donkey Kong Country's theme song. That's why it sounds so badass, even though it feels like the original Donkey Kong. Now, eventually, you can do this. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to write this down. But if I go, find any chord that has an A natural in it. This is especially used in the gospel communities. The idea of truly any chord works, right? Because I think the most brilliant music still comes out of church. I don't know how. I mean, it's been happening since Bach and all. I mean, it just keeps coming. So the most intense, heavy stuff. So, well, normally we'd be borrowing from one of these 7 chords, right? We'd say we're in F major, so let's make it an F, or we can go. That's G minor with an A on the top. We can do A minor with an A on the top. We can do B flat. We can do C, which is nice. We can D. We can do E. Straight up. Okay? But what if we said, screw the key? This is where it gets more advanced. And then we're going to go back into Donkey Kong in the next song. What if we said, screw that? We said, I want to do whatever chords I want. All we got to do now is follow the melody note and fit any chord around it that works. Because Jacob Collier has a beautiful way of saying this. He says, any melody note works with any bass note. Yeah, exactly. Because if I go, watch this. Still works. Still works. Still works. Still works. Still works. All we did is go through all 12 intervals. They're just units of measurement. Intervals. Right? Who's to say this, that interval's bad. Don't ever do that one. But these 8 are great. No, they're all fine. Measuring a centimeter versus measuring a mile, they're all intervals of space. Musically, why is that a problem? The problem is when you litter a bunch of junk in between the goalposts. So if these are my goalposts, and I just go like, or I don't know what I could do. Anything can work logically, but you might go like, oh God, I'm getting into some weird stuff. Oh, I will. You mean augmented 6 chords? Or you mean the interval of an augmented 4th? You talking about augment these? Tritones? I'll devil that shit up. All right, so anyway, he's making a reference to the fact that they called the diminished 5th, he's joking. They called that the devil's interval, the tritone. Even though it's in like every song we love, including... All right. have no idea this song is. Doesn't that start with like, or like, it starts with tritones. Anyway, long story short, let's pick this melody up and let's find any chord. And this is what I did with the Natasha thing. I found chords that were not in the key of F major because I wanted to create a little more tension. So, let's see. How about this chord? That's B half diminished. That has an A in it. How about C minor 6? That has an A natural in it. How about D flat major 7 sharp 5? How about D minor 6? How about, that's very John Bryan. How about F over E flat, F7 in third inversion? How about F major 7 in first inversion, in third inversion? Anyway, almost any chord. These all have A's. Just look for my pinky. Look at my pinky. It's going to stay there. Let's tune it. Ready? Just look at that fret. It might not always be my pinky, but look at that moment. It's always going to stay the same. Everything else changes around it. Jeez. Okay. Yep. Okay. So now moving it down here. So here's my point. All those weird chords you just heard could have been in this song. And it goes to D. So, or, let's see, where's D? Yeah, that's fun. So any of these chords could work underneath it. So if I want to do a jazz version of this song, all I gotta do is know the melody and make sure that no one else is playing the bass or harmony and I'm in charge of it. This is what I do in the John Diversa Big Band all the time. I'm just like reharmonizing stuff based on the melody. As long as it works with the melody, we're good. So this could quickly turn into a groovy, crazy thing for tonight, but I would totally analyze this. I love this song so much. So this gives my ear access to like, oh, that's that feeling. Whenever I hear this, I hear a lot of people do that these days. People who are inspired and influenced by Thundercat. Exactly, it's common tone. People who are inspired by that stuff, they always do this chord change. Moses Sumney does this a lot, this type of vibe. You take this minor 7 chord, but keep this. Well, it happened in this album, not first, but this is a famous jazz album, so it happened here. So I'll listen to that and go, oh, now I have that vocabulary. So when the band member over here does that, I go, oh, I know what they're doing. And then I can follow it. So I always start with this stuff first, like get my 7 diatonic chords really, really clear. Oh, I can hear the 2 chords happening. I can hear the 5 chords happening. I can hear. But what if my brain, when I hear a song like this, can hear this happening? If I can hear that and go, oh, that's minor 4, first inversion, add 9 of the 1, minor 6 chord on the flat 3, 2 chord, tritone substitution kind of, major 7 on the flat 2. If I can hear that and be like, store that away, the next time it happens, I'll look at the band and be like, oh. And I'll end with them and they'll be like, whoa! To me, it's just about building that vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? So I want to build awareness, starting with the fundamentals and then taking songs like this. I'm like, oh, when I hear this song, when Donkey Kong came on today for the first time, it wasn't like let me sit down and analyze this. If I do this with other songs that are simpler and then more challenging, it's like once this plays, I go, we're clearly in a major key. I hear the 4 and the 5 chord. I hear the 3 chord. 6. Oh, we're staying on 6. Oh, we're in D minor? Oh, okay, cool. Oh my God, it's so good. Dude, this sound card on freaking Super Nintendo. Hell yeah, this sounds like Pilot Wings. Cool. This is a good one to do. Oh, God, yes. Great. Yeah, we can talk about what's happening here harmonically. This is cool. What? Chromaticism, anyone? Mode mixture, anyone? So just general sort of A... I'd call that A sus. And again, underlying harmony is what we're going to do here. It's kind of A sus. Kind of A. Just very A. We'll just let it loop kind of. So we're going to start talking right now about the opposite idea. Here we had relative keys, remember? But now it's time to talk about parallel keys. All right, so this would be analyzed this way. I wrote this so big that, all right, so this is the 1 chord. This we're going to actually spell this way. But what we're going to do is this. Oops. And then we're back to A major. And we go 2, and we go 5. Yay. And we're back. Okay, this kind of loops right here. Kind of. This actually changes later on and becomes B minor early, but we don't really give enough. This also is going to be exploring parallel keys. Okay? So, kind of. It's like, this is like a real odd one. Now, I've used this analogy before. The idea of Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, how you go between the under and over worlds. There are so many other games, but that was my favorite game from the SNES era that explored this concept. So it seems like we're in a Mixolydian, but this moment, we have the E dominant 7, the G sharp. That moment I would call a mode mixture moment. So I'd really solo in A major here. Now, to be fair, there is an A Mixolydian thing there too. So you know what? I might be wrong about that. But this 2-5 to me makes it feel A enough to where I'd probably add G sharps in the first 4 bars to really highlight the G. But I do think there's an argument to be made for Heavy Feather's point of us being an A Mixolydian for these first 4 bars. There definitely is a case for that. But that 2-5, I'm like, there's a G sharp happening. It at least happens at some point. Okay, so mode mixture. So what's happening here is this really is Mixolydian. I done effed up. It's A mixo. Okay, and then this is finally A major. Yay! Now this A add flat 6, this is what's called mode mixture. We're borrowing from the parallel minor. Very different. So the minor scale, see this key signature up here for A major? Oh, I'm sorry. Page focus. See this key signature up here. Okay, so it's 3 sharps. Well, what's the key signature of A minor? Okie doke. All right, cool. So look at this F natural. This is the note we're going to pay attention to. This is a key note. So any one of these 3 notes is going to be a really important note. Okay, why? Well, see how the F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, those make the key of A major happen? Well, these notes deny the key of A major from happening. They go into A minor. These are the 3 notes we need to pay attention to. Check out this note you're going to hear in the song right now. There. Ba. That's an F natural. Ba. Ba. Okay? So that F natural, now we're kind of in the land of A minor. But we're still kind of doing an A sus chord. In fact, we're maybe even doing a major chord. No, it's just A. There's even E flat in there at one point. So that's even weirder. I mean, we'll call that chromaticism. But anyway, it gets weird and dark. But you're in an icy cave, so that's why. Anyway, long story short, how do we use these tools? So what we will do, for me at least, when I'm improvising, especially with jazz, is if my song's in a major key but I want to create some tension, well, we talked earlier today about how we can go into this thing. We can go into borrowing from our relative keys. You know, go to D minor and F major, go between the two. But what if I were to go F major to F minor? Or in this case, A major to A minor? It's kind of like, I have run, I have crawled, you know, I have scaled these city walls, only to be with you. I bet your ears are good, Casey. Sessa, sorry, Cairo, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. No, I still, my bad, haven't found what I'm looking for. Okay. Dude, I agree with this as number one. This is awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, dude, we're totally analyzing this. Dude, this is great. A lot of things are happening here. Modulations, which we've never talked about on stream. Okay, let's go to the top. This is obviously our choice. This is awesome. All right, so A flat major 7. Okay? So all it really is the way that we combine notes is what makes us feel a certain way. So just having a tortilla shell and then cheese, yeah, I guess that's sort of a taco, right? But what if that tortilla shell was soft and you melted it? Oh, now it's a quesadilla. So yeah, there are only 7 notes per major key, and 95% of music we listen to is from a major scale. If you were from Romania, like my girlfriend, probably 70% of her music's from a major scale. But in America, 95% is major. Or minor, but they're the same difference as we discovered earlier, right? How the major and minor keys share tones. Yeah, cool. We've gotten through that. Okay, so we're in major 7 land. All we're doing is combining notes from the key of E flat major. Okay, this is the 4 chord of E flat major, all right? So let's listen. I promise to jam over this when I'm done analyzing it and we talk about it. This percentage sign just means the 4 bars prior were repeated. It's a shorthand way of writing. Plus drums. This is so freaking awesome. Okay, hold up. Something changed. We're at the A section right now. D minor. Key change, okay? So we'll do this. We are now in the key of 1 flat. So we'll do this. We'll make this a natural. So now we keep that B flat, right? Because we're in the key of D minor, right? That chord's D minor. So this is the 4 chord, the 2 chord, and the 5 chord. So point is, I'm going to circle stuff that is not from the key of what we're in. So right now we're in the key of E flat, okay? So let's mark this all in blue. We're in E flat right here, okay? This is our 4 chord. This is our 2 chord. There's some really, really hip stuff happening here, and I will jam over it after. 5, 7, okay? This is our 2 chord in the key of E flat, and this is our 5 chord. 5 chords are really important. They're the quarterback of our key, okay, of our team. So we know, oh wow, if we see a dominant 7 chord, that's the 5, because the 5 chord. Oh, we didn't do 7th chords. Well, the 5 chord's always dominant. It's the only one that's always dominant. So we know when we see a dominant chord, that's the 5 chord. And then we do the rest of the math, and we go, oh, well, I guess if that's the 5 chord, this is probably the 4, 2, etc. So that's true. So this is really fun right here. So this is a 5 chord in the key of E flat, but instead of going to E flat, it goes straight to the key. Why are you telling me that? It goes straight into the key of D minor. Now, how do we know it's D minor? Well, this helps us. 5, 7. Remember, whenever you see a dominant 7 chord, you know what key you're coming from. All right, so this dominant 7 chord lets us know we're in the key of F major, and this all lines up. It's like doing a little puzzle. So we know that that's the 1 chord. Does it work out? Is this the 3 chord? Yes, it is. Is this the 6 chord? Yes, it is. So check it out. I'm gonna circle something with purple because that's going to be something different than what we're used to. So this is getting circled. Because in the key of D minor, see this key signature? There's no C sharp. So this chord sounds really good to our ears. This is a really fun moment for our ears. I'll prove it to you. There. Check it out. Purple. Oh, not yet, not yet. Here. Purple right now. It's nice, isn't it? And so is this. Also, that chord also contains notes that are not from our key, namely an E flat. Okay, I'll actually draw it on the thing. This has an E flat. That's our fun note. Okay, E flat. And this has a C sharp. That's our fun note. So these two notes do not exist in the key of D minor, as you can see from the key signature, right? So they really make our ears feel alive. This B flat, everything's fine there, so we're good there. So that's going to be our, I guess we're saying we're in the key of F, so that's our 4 chord, and that'll be our 6 chord. All right, cool. And these are our special chords. This would be 5 of, 5, I guess, if it's a dominant 7, it has to be 4, 3, just long story, of 6. Okay, and then this is, I would call this, I don't know how to write figure bass for a minor 6 chord. I would call this 2 of 4. And then it goes to 4. See that? So this really makes us want that B flat even more, because that E flat is going to resolve down to a D. And D is going to feel really good to our ears. Those two chords are purple because they have notes that are not from the key. That's why they sound fun. Oh, I love that chord change. So something really magical happens here, okay? Yes, B flat is the 4 chord of D minor, that key we were coming from, right? It's also the 5 chord of E flat major. So this is a nice little pivoting moment. I just said a very large P. Sorry about that. Pivot. So yes, this is 4 of the key of F, but it's also, watch this, in E flat. This is the 5 chord, which is nice because then you know what we're doing? We're going back to 4. Okay, so this A flat is not super random after a B flat. Okay. I love this so much. This is just 5 action. We love it. So basically, this song has 2 chords with non-diatonic chord tones. The rest are just beautiful modulations, you know? Snap, extended music. I remember this song. God, that's fantastic. I love this. Wow. Cool. 4/4. Love it. All right, so this entire song, what makes this song so cool is the idea of using diatonic like notes from a scale, using notes from a scale over chords that wouldn't normally traditionally have. Okay, so what's happening here is this. The most important thing to me is this. It's hard to play without delay, you know, but there's this cool little hypnotizing, sort of mesmerizing thing with the B and the C. Do you hear it in the background? It's like a synth. Okay, so that's B and C and G, okay? Now we're in the key of C, okay? So our C major scale is C, D, E, oh wow, I wrote C, E, E, that's cool. C, I get ahead of myself often, G, A, B, and C, right? Those are our 7 notes. You'll find that everything in this song is completely composed out of those notes, but if you put a C natural, for example, over a G sus, over a B, you're going to get a flat 9 thing. So it sounds tense. That's a weird, oh God, what's happening there? Oh, Dad's here. I've always thought of how cool it is that one of the sweetest sounds of it is a dominant 7th chord, and the big fat discord and tritone in the middle of it is what makes it so sweet. Exactly. So yeah, by the way, my theory stuff really comes from my dad and mom. My mom studied music theory in high school, played violin and all that stuff. My dad's a super theory nerd and verbalized it to me at a young age, teaching me how to sing a major seventh or a third or a fifth. So anywho, this C natural happening with the B in the bass creates a flat 9 sound. No one likes that. No one likes that, except you do like it when it's It does make sense if it's in context. So now a king of this songwriting method is Johnny Greenwood, or I guess Radiohead in general. Radiohead does this a lot. They'll play an E minor chord. They'll go. The chord really is E minor. Hey, Will 50, what's up? The chord really is E minor, but I'm singing a C, because this E minor chord has a C natural in its key signature, right? E minor, the key signature, has a C natural in it. So here, this song is all diatonic. You're not going to find one note in this song that's not paired automatically with its own key of C major. So we're just like, oh, this is easy. This is such a great piece, by the way. Thank you for recommending Stickerbrush Symphony. Very, very cool. Okay, so that's what's going to make this song magic. It doesn't change keys at all. Even this G sus 13 moment, where it's like this. Right? And then it goes to G. It does exactly heavy feather. E minor for the flat 6 sounds like an inversion of C major 7, except if there are two Bs, you know, like, I'm going to tune this again. This is ridiculous. But yes, heavy feather's right. Totally right. But to me, when there are like 3 E's being heard and 2 B's and then a C, I'm like, it's really more of an E minor with a flat 6. But if I hear 2 or 3 C's in there, I'm like, oh, it's predominantly a C. I'll finally shave in the morning. All right, let's jam over this song that we just analyzed. The bottom line is, listen for when I play notes that are not from the chord. So for example, if we're in A minor 7, the notes in that chord are A, C, E, and G. So what happens if I play one of these notes? Now these are part of the key as well, so I'll draw them a different color green. B. That's not a different note color. What if I did, I'll make them yellow. What if I did B? Oh, that's kind of illegible, isn't it? This is not going well. Page focus. What if I did, let's just make it blue. What if I did B or D or F over this chord? What if over this chord, which is just C, E, G, B, what if I played a D or an F or an A? That would be similar to what's happening here, okay? So I'm going to try to accentuate those notes. Let's jam along. Let's do it.